Welcome back everybody, I'm Lindsay and today I'm going to show you how to build a gate for a fence. We had our gate torn down during a hurricane and we're working really hard to get it replaced, and we're ready finally to build the gate. And most gates, you can buy gates in stores, but a lot of gates are custom. So we have four 4x4s. I have some 3-inch screws, our speed square, a saw, and we're going to be making joints. So we're going to glue the joint and screw the joint together, help hold these corners nice and square in case we have any more hard or really high winds in the future. So hopefully this next one will last longer than the old one. To get started building our gate for our fence today, we need to know exactly how wide our opening is going to be. So our posts for our fence gate are 55.5 inches wide, which means we're going to give ourselves clearance on either side for the hardware for the gate, for the latch, and just to make sure that the gate can swing since we're building it with 2x4s. So we're actually going to we're going to cut the width of our gate at 52 inches, and that's going to leave us enough board on our 8-foot 2x4s to actually do the height as well, which is really great. We're also going to cut one beam that is going to run the diagonal across the board, across the gate, to make sure that it is really sturdy.
Now that the first beam is cut, double check to make sure that your second mark is in the right place.
All right, we have our top marked and our bottom marked with a little arrow just to keep us straight on which side is up. And now we are going to use the side boards to make notches in the top and bottom boards, and then we're going to use glue and screws to notch these together and make it nice and sturdy. We have our notches cut in our top and bottom boards, and now I'm going to apply some glue into both of these joints, make sure that it's nice and square, using our square, and then I'm going to screw it together. I also propped a board under each of the joints so that I wouldn't get wood glue all over my floor, or my garage floor. Okay, great. Those nice and square, so we're gonna go ahead and screw these together. I'm also checking to make sure that my sideboard is flush with the end of my top board before I screw these in. Okay, great. I'm gonna come around and do the bottoms, and then we're going to put our cross beam in the middle, mark it, and cut it. I marked my crossbeam that's going to be the support that runs from corner to corner in my gate. And I cut one side, and I knew that I was not as precise with my cuts as I'd like to be. So I took my 2x4 that's going to be the support, ran it back through my gate, and I remarked it. And I just wanted to say, I just want to encourage you. I'm learning. Every time I do a new project, everything is a new build. I typically don't build the same thing more than once. And this is a perfect example of, I realized that I wasn't quite as on target with my circular saw. This one's a little hard for me. It's heavy. At an angle, I'm not going to be able to use my square, which I love for straight cuts, and it really helps me be precise for straight cuts. But for these angle cuts, it's a little harder for me to get them perfectly on the line. So I remeasured, I remarked, and I'm going to cut again. And hopefully, when we make these two cuts, it's going to go perfectly into our gate. Another dead battery. That's the third one in the last 20 minutes. My saw is really struggling right now. This wood is very wet. I just got it today. We've had a tremendous amount of rain. It feels like a sponge, a wet sponge. Okay, it doesn't fit. I cut a little fat on purpose. I would much rather have this be a fit that I kind of have to hammer in so that it's nice and tight versus it being loose. If it was a loose fit for this type of hold for this gate, it's not going to do what we want it to do. So I cut on the outside of my line intentionally. So now I'm going to just go right down my line, and it should go right in. The wood's curling. I've never seen a piece of wood curl off the end of a 2x4. Kind of like melted chocolate for all my dessert lovers. All right, so let's see. Moment of truth, everybody. Voila! Oh my gosh. This project has taken a lot longer than I expected today. I have built a gate one other time, but it was a smaller scale, and it wasn't going to be holding any pickets. So I've really taken my time with this one today. I'm really excited. I'm going to pull this back out, put a little glue in it, and then I'm also going to toenail some screws into each one of these joints and then let it sit overnight. Our gate is done, and all of the wood glue has cured, which is great. And the concrete on our 6x6 that's going to hold the gate has also had plenty of time to cure. So we've picketed the front of the gate in line with the neighbors. And now we are going to go ahead and picket the front of the gate, and then we're going to get the gate nice and level and then attach the hardware. We're going to be using two self-closing hinges. The long part is going to attach to the front of the gate, and the other side of the hinge is going to attach to the opening. To reinforce our opening, we had our 2x4s running horizontally here, which is where the pickets typically go. And then we reinforced it with another 2x4 that runs perpendicular that will have a lot of stability for our hinges. For our gate hanging, we actually laid our frame for our gate down on the ground and used the nail gun to put all of our pickets on there. We just used the bottoms of each picket to make sure that they're nice and flush. And so now we're going to stand the gate up and position the hinges in line with our supports. Now that the gate is up, we are going to work to get it level first, and then we're going to elevate the gate with two 2x4s so that it is the right height. We've closed the gap so that the hardware can go on, and now we are working to get the hardware level and in line with our support beams on the back of the gate. The moment of truth. Our gate is hung, it opens. This is great. Yay, our fence is almost done.